My wife cheated with my cousin and had a baby. My family kept it secret for years, and now they want back into my life after I found success. I'm a 44-year-old man who thought I had left the pain of my past behind me, until 3 days ago when my estranged family walked back into my life, unraveling years of betrayal and deceit. Before I get to what happened recently, let me start from the beginning. I've been happily married to my wife, Sarah, for 10 years. We have an 8-year-old son and a life I'm incredibly proud of. But this is my second marriage. My first marriage was to my childhood sweetheart, Amy, who I thought would be my forever partner. Amy and I started dating in middle school. We grew up together, supported each other through life's ups and downs, and shared dreams of a future together. By the time we were 22, we had both graduated from college and landed stable careers. Everything seemed perfect, so we got married in a small ceremony surrounded by friends and family. For a couple of years, our marriage felt like an extension of the love we had always known. But gradually, something shifted. Amy grew distant, often distracted and uninterested in spending time together. I chalked it up to work stress or the natural ebb and flow of a relationship. But deep down, I felt something was wrong. I tried everything to reignite the spark, planning romantic getaways, cooking her favorite meals, and even suggesting couples counseling. But nothing worked. Amy seemed checked out. Then, just weeks before our third wedding anniversary, she dropped a bombshell. She handed me divorce papers. She said she wasn't in love with me anymore. Her tone was cold and detached, as though she had rehearsed this conversation 100 times. I was blindsided. I begged her to reconsider, to try and work things out, but she refused. Her mind was made up. It felt like the ground beneath me disappeared. The divorce process was quick and clinical. Amy moved out, and within weeks, she was gone physically and emotionally. She relocated to another town, cut off all communication, and left me with no closure. I spent months replaying every moment of our marriage, wondering where I went wrong. As if losing Amy wasn't devastating enough, my own family turned their backs on me during my darkest hour. My parents and sister, who had always been my biggest supporters, suddenly became distant. At first, I thought they were giving me space to grieve, but as weeks turned into months, their silence became deafening. My calls went unanswered, my texts ignored, and my attempts to visit were met with closed doors. Eventually, I discovered they had blocked me on social media and even changed their numbers. It was as if I no longer existed to them. That period of my life was the darkest I've ever faced. The loneliness was unbearable. I quit my job, unable to focus, and spent months in a depressive haze. At my lowest point, I even contemplated giving up entirely. But thankfully, I had amazing friends who refused to let me spiral. They pulled me out of the abyss, reminding me of the dreams I once had. One of those dreams was opening my own restaurant, a dream I had shared with my parents before everything fell apart. With my friends' support, I found investors, created a business plan, and took the plunge. I named the restaurant something my parents had once suggested, a bittersweet nod to the family I thought I had lost. The first year was a struggle, but slowly, the restaurant gained traction. People loved the food, the atmosphere, and the story behind it. As the restaurant thrived, so did I. The success gave me a sense of purpose I hadn't felt in years. Around this time, I met Sarah. She was a food blogger who came to review my restaurant. We hit it off immediately, bonding over our shared love for food and ambition. Sarah had a warmth and kindness that reminded me of what love could be. After 3 years of dating, we got married in a small ceremony, surrounded by friends. Our son was born shortly after, completing our little family. Sarah's unwavering support and our shared dreams became the foundation of my new life. Over the years, my career flourished. The one restaurant grew into a chain, and eventually, I became the CEO of a hospitality company managing hotels and restaurants across the region. Life was better than I ever thought it could be after everything I had endured. But then, 3 days ago, my past came crashing back into my life. It all started with a TV interview about my success. The segment aired on a popular local channel, and while it was meant to celebrate my journey, it inadvertently reopened old wounds. My estranged family, whom I hadn't seen or heard from in over 20 years, suddenly reappeared. They showed up unannounced at my workplace. The receptionist called to inform me that my parents and sister were in the lobby. At first, I thought she was mistaken. Sarah and our son were supposed to be at work and school. But when I realized who it was, I felt a mix of shock, anger, and dread. I told the receptionist to ask them to leave, but they refused, creating a scene. Not wanting to escalate things, I decided to face them. As soon as I stepped into the lobby, they acted like nothing had changed. They smiled, praised my success, and called my story inspirational. Their audacity was infuriating. They had the nerve to talk about how proud they were of me after 2 decades of silence. Then they brought up Sarah and my son, saying they wanted to meet them. Their sudden interest in my life felt suspicious, so I decided to hear them out. If they were here, I wanted answers. What they told me left me reeling. Amy had been cheating on me with my cousin Carl, the son of my dad's older brother. My family had known about the affair, but chose to side with Amy and Carl to avoid upsetting my uncle, who owned the family business where my dad worked. My uncle had made it clear that anyone who supported me would face severe consequences, including being cut off from the business. To protect their livelihoods, my parents and sister turned their backs on me, choosing financial security over loyalty to their son and brother. To make matters worse, Amy had a child shortly after our divorce, a child she later confirmed was Carl's. My family had helped cover up the affair and even celebrated the birth of Amy and Carl's baby while I was left in the dark. Hearing this was like reliving the heartbreak all over again. The betrayal was deeper than I ever imagined. My family had not only abandoned me, but actively participated in the deception. Now, after years of silence, they wanted to reconcile because of my success. They had seen the TV interview and decided it was time to rebuild our relationship. Their sudden interest in my life felt less like love and more like opportunism. I told them exactly how I felt, that their betrayal had shattered me and that I had spent years rebuilding my life without them. I made it clear that I had no intention of letting them back in, especially not now when they only seemed interested in my success. They tried to argue, saying they had made mistakes and deserved a second chance. But for me, their actions spoke louder than their words. They had chosen to abandon me when I needed them most, and I had no reason to believe they truly cared now. I asked them to leave and told security not to let them back in. As they walked out, I felt a mix of sadness and relief. It hurt to face the reality of their betrayal, but it also reaffirmed the strength I had built over the years. Today, I'm focused on the family I've built with Sarah and our son. They are my true source of happiness and support. The past will always be a part of me, but it no longer defines me. As for my estranged family, I've made my decision. Forgiveness may come one day, But reconciliation is a bridge I'm not ready to cross, and maybe never will. When Amy discovered she was pregnant, my uncle insisted that the child be raised as Carl's. My family not only helped them hide the affair, but also ensured I was kept in the dark about the pregnancy. I didn't even know I had a daughter until 3 days ago. The weight of that revelation hit me like a freight train. My daughter, who is now almost 20, believes Carl is her biological father. The web of deceit woven by my family spanned 2 decades, and they justified their betrayal by claiming they were trying to maintain peace and ensure access to their granddaughter. Hearing this shattered me. For years, I blamed myself for the divorce and my family's abandonment. To learn that they had conspired against me to protect their own interests felt like a knife to the heart. I remember the night Amy left me. The arguments, the cold silences, and the crushing weight of failure consumed me. I had convinced myself that I was the reason for everything that went wrong. My family's rejection added salt to the wound. They sided with her, claiming I wasn't attentive enough, that I had failed as a husband. I tried to move on, burying myself in work and building a new life from the ashes of my old one. But the scars remained, hidden beneath a facade of success and resilience. Despite their apologies and justifications, I told them to leave. They refused, insisting that we needed to reconcile. My sister even had the audacity to claim credit for my success, saying they had suggested the name for my first restaurant. I laughed in disbelief. They had done nothing to support me. Everything I built was with the help of my friends and Sarah. Sarah, my rock, my partner, and my sanctuary in a world filled with betrayal, had stood by me through thick and thin. Together, we turned dreams into reality, creating a life filled with love and hard-earned accomplishments. I told my family I didn't want anything to do with them and called security to escort them out. Since then, they've been bombarding me with messages and emails, apologizing and pleading for forgiveness. But I've ignored them all. No apology can erase the pain they caused or the years they stole from me. Now I'm faced with another dilemma. My daughter. The thought of her, growing up believing another man was her father, is both heartbreaking and infuriating. My wife and I have discussed whether to reach out to her. We have her name and know where she attends college, but we don't want to disrupt her life. At the same time, she's my biological child, and I feel a responsibility to let her know the truth. After much deliberation, we decided to send her a message on Instagram. We explained who I was and expressed a desire to connect, leaving the decision in her hands. Composing that message was one of the hardest things I've ever done. How do you introduce yourself to someone who doesn't know you exist? Every word felt loaded with the weight of 2 decades of absence and unspoken truths. It's been a few days, and we're still waiting for a response. I can't imagine how difficult this must be for her, and I'm prepared to take things slowly. All I want is the chance to be part of her life, if she'll let me. I've replayed the moment I found out about her over and over in my mind. My uncle's voice, trembling with guilt as he confessed, and my mother's tearful attempts to justify their actions. They claimed they wanted to protect me, to shield me from the pain of raising a child born from infidelity. But their lies didn't protect me, they destroyed me. They robbed me of the chance to know my daughter, to watch her grow, to be there for her first steps, her first words, her milestones. Sarah has been my anchor through this storm. She reminded me that while I can't change the past, I can control how I move forward. Together, we've brainstormed ways to approach my daughter, ensuring we respect her boundaries while expressing my desire to connect. It's a delicate balance, and I'm terrified of making the wrong move. What if she wants nothing to do with me? What if she's angry, confused, or hurt? These thoughts haunt me, but I've come to accept that her feelings are valid, whatever they may be. As for my family, I've made it clear that they're not welcome in my life. They made their choice 20 years ago, and now they must live with the consequences. My mother's tearful voicemails and my sister's defensive emails do nothing to sway me. Their actions were calculated and self-serving, and I refuse to let them manipulate me again. Building my first restaurant was the hardest thing I'd ever done until now. Back then, I poured every ounce of energy into creating something from nothing, fueled by a desperate need to prove my worth. Sarah and I worked tirelessly, enduring sleepless nights and countless setbacks. That restaurant became a symbol of our resilience, a testament to our refusal to give up. Now, as I face this new challenge, I draw strength from those memories. If we could overcome those obstacles, I can face this too. I'm grateful for the love and support of Sarah and my son. They are my true family, and no amount of betrayal or pain can take that away from me. My son, wise beyond his years, has been a constant source of comfort. He reminds me of the importance of love, forgiveness, and second chances. Watching him grow has been one of the greatest joys of my life, and I hope, one day, to share that joy with my daughter. This journey has been far from easy, but it's taught me the value of resilience and the importance of surrounding yourself with people who genuinely care. Whatever happens next with my daughter or my estranged family, I know I'll face it with the strength I've built over the years. I've learned that family isn't defined by blood, but by love, loyalty, and the bonds we choose to nurture. If my daughter chooses to meet me, I'll cherish every moment. I'll tell her about the nights I spent wondering what might have been, the love I felt for her even when I didn't know she existed. I'll show her the life we've built, the family she's always been a part of in spirit, even if she didn't know it. And if she decides she isn't ready, I'll respect that too. I'll wait, as long as it takes, for her to find her own path. Because being a parent isn't about imposing your will, it's about offering unconditional love and support, no matter the circumstances. The road ahead is uncertain, but I've faced uncertainty before. Each step I take is guided by hope, love, and a determination to build a better future. My daughter's response, whatever it may be, will shape the next chapter of this story. And while I can't predict the outcome, I know one thing for certain. I'll face it with an open heart and unwavering resolve.